Nigeria, like most other developing nations in the world, is still grappling with the problem of giving the people adequate electricity supply. And indeed, we have the issue of distribution, generation, and indeed, compliance with standards. Our focus today on this segment of the program is with the Nigeria Electricity Management Services Agency. And I have with me the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of that agency. He is the Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation, Peter Ewesor. Thanks for joining me on Insight.
Thank you, Mini.
Okay. Now, a number of persons here of NEMSA, and by the last count, the little I could get for now, they said NEMSA carries out the functions of enforcement of technical standards and regulations, technical inspections, testing and certifications of all categories of electrical installations, electricity meters, and instruments. It also ensures the efficient production and delivery of safe, reliable, and sustainable electricity power supply and guarantees safety of lives and property in the Nigeria electricity supply chain. So, let us take off. There's so much that you're doing, yet it appears you're not doing anything. Let's start with the Jos Electricity Distribution Company. Recently, we had issues with smart metering distribution, which you nipped in the bud. Where are we with that now?
I think Jos Electricity Distribution Company issue really is one of the issue with a nascent reform having transferred to the private owners, that's from public to private. The people who are learning to actually appreciate that rules and regulations are put in place to guide the process of providing electricity to people and supplying them electricity. So there was that omission in which they obtained what we call the type test certificate for their meters. That will show that the quality of that meter can be used in Nigeria. But forgetting that when the quantity, large consignment of this meter now come, we still needed to actually verify that they are in compliance with regulation and they meet that same quality standard which has earlier been approved for them when the meter is coming for the first time. So when we heard about it, there was a complaint from the state government and other concerned citizens, we went straight to Jos and then looked at the situation and then actually decided that, well, this cannot go, it cannot happen. We halted it and we actually assured the public that we're going to carry out site tests and then testing of all the other meters they have not installed. That has been done. We've tested the meters on the field, and most of the ones we've tested on the field actually show a good
so that has been resolved now.
Good meter. It's been resolved by us, but at least we've been able to assure and guarantee that those meters meet the accuracy requirement, and then they are in line with what we had earlier approved. And the other part who are taken to a Kaduna meter test station tested. If I would just send a letter back to Jos government and then copy Jos Disco to say, please, we've checked this meter out. Please, you can continue the rollout of your meters. But if there are any further development, then we'll actually look into them.
So why did the JEDC react as if you were maybe an affront to what is their mandate?
Well, you know basically that once you say changes is very difficult to people, but it's the constant thing that happens. Okay. In Nigeria, sometime in the other developer, you hear about voluntary compliance. Here, even when you are forcing people to comply, it's difficult, but I think they appreciated that it was not an affront, but it's equally even for their own advantage, because this meter we are talking really is an impartial equipment, because even the consumer who think they can be losing. The same thing applies to the disco. The disco can be supplying energy which we are not paying for, and the meter can equally. So
are you saying is the same platform you're using for all the electricity distribution companies across the country? It
is, because we have 3 national meter test stations, the same equipment, so it's the same platform.
Okay.
If the procedure is that when you are bringing any meter to Nigeria for the first time, we want to find out whether that particular meter can actually function in our environment, not like environment where it has been produced, where people will just go there and buy some equipment off the shelf and bring to Nigeria. Our temperature here is different, humidity is different, so many climatic conditions here are quite different. We don't have snow here, so we have to check out and be sure that those equipment meet our environmental conditions.
What if by chance you discover that one of them sneaked in the wrong one and it's already in the public domain?
Yeah, you see, they are there. In fact, we can treat this one as those one really do exist, but we only can treat them when there are reports, and that's why we actually allow the public to say, if you notice there is any meter installed in your premises or your neighbor's premises and it does not carry NEMSA seal or NEMSA tested certified label, you suspect and find out that this is a problem. And that also actually happened in Jos, because the citizens were saying, look, my meter do not have NEMSA label, so you have to convince us that this meter actually. So
beyond the fact that maybe we are discussing now, has the public been conscientized, maybe through advocacy for them to know? Because we are dealing with a huge consumer base here. Are they aware?
Yeah, I think, gradually since, NEMSA got its act 2015 here, and so since then we've been in regular touch with the public through this kind of programs. We've done sensitization programs, we've done stakeholders forum. Stakeholders forum does not necessarily mean people who are participating in the power sector, it means even the consumers themselves, and there are so many ways we're engaging them, and we'll continue to bring it to their domain. But the first thing we have made is that we have all these conditions on our website where everybody can check and then see what are the conditions for you to actually supply or manufacture meter, use meters, and then where the consumer too can know whether the meter they are using is actually being tested and meets all the requirements.
Okay, like I said, I don't want to bore the viewer today by talking about what are the functions of NEMSA. You're already on ground, you're working, but we still see from maybe the layman's eye that so much of what you're supposed to have been doing is not really playing out. E.g., you have addressed so many sessions, so many fora regarding metering, and we still have cases of people using public power supply, getting public power supply without meters. What are you doing about this?
The issue of ensuring that people get meter actually is on the regulator, but we too have a role to play, and the role to play is to ensure that we will have checked out the manufacturer or the suppliers meter I want to supply, that the meter actually meet the requirement. Then NEC actually license them, and they are actually it's under their purview to make sure that the discos perform to the service agreement they have signed in terms, because when they sign agreement with government taking over this, they have milestones of how many meters they need to actually deploy, and that is the regulator, the Nigerian Electricity Commission, to actually ensure that that happens. Okay. While we give them all the relevant technical support.
Okay, let's come down now. Nigeria is huge. You have rural electrification agencies. Some states have state electrification agencies and at the federal. Now you find a community gets electrified, and just by one rainstorm comes, the whole poles are down. Yeah. How were these poles satisfied? Do you have a role to play in this?
Well, I just tell you that for any electrical equipment that's to be used in the power sector, actually it is NEMSA's responsibility to ensure that those.
So how come do we have electricity poles still collapsing across the country on a daily basis, mostly during the rainy seasons?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
And see, people have died.
Yeah.
In the process.
Yeah, you see, most of all these things, sometimes people think it's only just the quality of the material. Quality of the material alone do not actually causes harm and what have you. If you do not integrate all these components, you have the pole, you have the cable, you have the stay, you have the insulators, and the transformer. If you do not integrate them well in line with the rules and regulations, okay, it will happen. By law, you are supposed to plant a pole, the high tension pole, 10.36 meters, 1.8 meters down the ground. But many people will plant this pole 1.2, sometimes 1 meter. If they are digging, they meet a rock, they might just put it there and go away. And so by that, you've already built in instability and insecurity in that system. Okay. So when the rain falls, it will go down. I'll give you an example, like I say every day. If you look at before now, if you look at these GRAs around this country, you see the pole has been planted for many years, but it's still looking far better than the recent one they are planting. So you now ask yourself, what are the issues? The issues are what I'm just telling you.
So it's not about quality, it's about coordinates.
No, quality is, I'll still talk about quality. Okay. Quality is part of it, but what I'm saying is that beyond quality, it depends on how you now organize this equipment. You integrate them, and we call it proper construction and installation standard and practice. If we follow that, a lot of this will be reduced. When we talk about quality, we certify electric concrete pole manufacturers, and with that, they are within our register. We monitor them on a regular basis and find out if they are producing the pole in line with what has been certified. Okay. But where this do not happen, that pole manufacturer will actually be stopped from producing pole. And if the person produces pole, for example, and is being used by a community, by Rural Education Agency of Nigeria, by a state SC board, and it causes harm, like maybe destruction, even if it's not involving life. Once we trace it, because we have our engineers located across the country, we have 18 field offices, the inspectorate offices and technical standard offices nationwide. They will go and verify and find out whether this actually meet the standard. If it is the fault of the pole manufacturer, he's replacing, even if there are 1 million poles he has planted, he will replace them at no cost, because those are part of the condition he's been told. And that is why too, in their factories, we insist they must have all testing facilities. Okay. That's what we call testing.
Now, within the contract award, for instance, say the contract is awarded by Ministry of Power.
Yeah.
Now, the pole manufacturer meets the standards, and in executing the contracts, they did not comply with the terms of the contract. Now, if it is found out that an official from the Ministry of Power may be compromised, because of the compromise, the poles collapse, are there sanctions for this kind of officials?
You see, first and foremost,
because we have DEX officers who monitor these contractors.
Yeah, you see, first and foremost, you see, it's a chain. Like you talk about the value chain. Equally, construction is a chain. The man who award, the project engineer who actually monitor the project. We have what we call the person that the onions is really on his head. First and foremost, the electrical installation contractor that has been certified by NEMSA. First and foremost, is expected to do his job, and that's why we say we have what we call design drawings. Then we have as-built drawing, because what has been designed, you as electrical contractor certified, who has the skill and the quality and the experience, should know that where I'm planting this pole, like I said before, if it's on top of a rock, there are procedures. Either you move it forward or move it backward, where you get proper grounding where you can actually plant it. Like I say, if we give them what we call standards in terms of this pole, we have, because of what we say post-collapse, we told all pole manufacturers now, all your poles must carry your name, the date of produce, and the planting depth, so that even that project engineer who is coming to come and check, when he comes, he has something to benchmark. So when these things do happen, then we now look at what causes that disaster to have happened. Okay. Then you now look at who is actually guilty, who is at fault. I'll give you a scenario. Just yesterday, I got a report from my Kaduna office where electrical contractor actually has carried out an installation. He has finished, but he was finding it difficult because he did a very bad job. All he just did was to just clone a certificate and then went to Kaduna Disco.
He cloned?
Yes, went to Kaduna Disco and they connected. So when our engineer there was going around and saw the project, and said, how can this type of project be on? So I asked ADC, Kaduna Disco, and said, yes, we've gotten your certificate. So he looked, said, it's not our certificate. So you can see with this one now, he instructed Kaduna Disco to disconnect. This place has been disconnected for safety while we are going to do proper and thorough investigation and find out who that person is, because it's not only now that the person is actually had done something criminal, at the same time is putting a larger
just hope he will be prosecuted. Let's move on.
Yes.
The one that concerns me, I've seen a couple of your promos on the need for people to ensure standards, but you drive around the country, at the Federal Capital Territory, at the state capitals, at the rural fringes of Nigeria, you find topmost high tension cables passing through a community with houses under it.
Yeah.
Is NEMSA aware of this?
Of course we do.
We have a lot of them. Let me go good far. In Abuja, for instance, Dutse Alaji is a typical example. From your office to Dutse Alaji, I'm sure it's less than an hour. There is a settlement where you have the topmost high tension cable flying and people are living under it.
Yes.
What are you doing about it? Are you aware of it?
Yeah, you see, there's what we call right of way for high tension power line. Okay. Right of way means government has acquired the right of way. And by the law, you are not expected to build or encroach on that right of way. But you find that Nigeria is a country where people really don't follow the law unless you start using.
Are there sanctions for this kind of developments? Because
of course.
the day they post collapse,
of course,
regulatory agencies will come on you and say you didn't do your job. Now the people are living there. One day the post will collapse and people will die in their droves.
No, you see, all these things are things that is not just.
If the laws are there, what should be done?
You see, what should be? You see, let me refer you to this for what happened in Calabar. You remember it was a viewing center that was under the line, and it actually happened. The line dropped and people died. But we thank God at least there was some protective device that actually operated, which didn't mean that the disaster, the level of people that would have actually died were not as much. So what happens is that after that incident, for example, we've given an instruction, a definite enforcement order to the discos, and says, look, all those premises, structures under the high tension line that are serviced with power supply, disconnect them. That's the first instance. To remove people under the line, it's not just NEMSA or just the disco or one agency. It's the federal government, the state government, the local government, and the enforcement agencies. Because it's not something that...
A layman would think it's about NEMSA.
No, you see, it's for us to give the instruction. And the instruction we've given. And we've advised that this is the next step government should take. Because at the Calabar incident, for example, I went to represent the president and the honorable minister of power works and housing to look at what has happened and what is the way forward. And that has generated to now to say, look, all structures under the line should be removed. But it has a process. We are in a country. And so that process, some state governors are already setting up committees. First and foremost, let us identify all those structures under the line, enumerate them, know how they got there. Some of them got there illegally and they don't even know the consequences, because the radiation they pass through every other day is not only when the disaster happens, the man dies. No.
You use the word some of them get there illegally. Some of these persons got lands allocated to them from government ministries, government departments, and the engineers or town planners who give out these certifications know the rules.
You see, people say this, but sometimes when you ask that the owner of the pen to give you those documents, it's not people to bring documents. I'll give you a scenario. When we were, I was still there in the ministry, when we were going to approve second Ikeja West line in Lagos. When we were actually ensuring that these people are demolished, we met somebody, he confirmed to us, he has been paid this compensation. Please, can you allow us to remain here? And we say, no, you cannot remain here. In fact, we had to use force to bulldoze the place for it to be done.
So that we don't exhaust all the time. I would have loved to have you on a longer time schedule. But let's imagine we are wrapping up this session now, and I say, Engineer Peter Ewesor, you are the Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I think I prefer that name. Well, you are the Managing Director of NEMSA. What message will you give to Nigerians? The poor, the rich, because everybody is involved. What message? Because at the end of the day, it is NEMSA everybody knows. High tension, oh, NEMSA. But forgetting that people from town planning are involved, name it. So what message do you have for Nigerians? Because today, you have made us know that some meters are of substandard and they're already in the market. If people are not aware, how will they know this meter is the wrong one? The discos are involved. So tell Nigerians, maybe in 1 or 2 minutes.
Well, I'll quickly say that first and foremost, like you rightly said, rich or poor, electricity doesn't know a rich man, it doesn't know a poor man. That's why we call it, electricity is a very good servant, but it's a bad master. It serves us to actually enjoy the comfort of life, but at the same time, when it's going to wreak its havoc, it does not give you, in fact, it doesn't ask for any permission from you. So what I would say to people is that people are listening to us now should actually know that safety is of paramount importance, and safety actually is everybody's business. If you see what is wrong, what is not right, tell us on time. Talk about NEMSA, because we cannot, like we have 18 offices across the country, we can't see everything, but if you see anything that is dangerous, a line is going to fall off in your area, move to the nearest disco office, report. When you are reported, look for NEMSA's nearest office and then make that particular
We have offices all over the country?
We have 18 offices, but before, when we were initially in the ministry, we had 15. Okay. But since the establishment of NEMSA, we've established additional 3 offices, because we know the closer we are to the people, the better we can serve them. So it's a continuous process, and all these offices will actually be established when you have enough resources.
Okay.
And so about meters, if you see a meter installed in your premises, check and be sure that that meter carries NEMSA's seal or NEMSA's test label. That tells you the meter has been tested. But at the same time too, if you are not sure, because there could be a meter that is put there and somebody, like I talk about cloning of certificate, for example, now you can equally contact us through our zonal offices, so as much as possible.
Well, I'm afraid I have to just stop here, Engineer Peter Ewesor. I believe you are doing a lot of advocacy. I expect to be seen on the average 4 slots of promos every day across the country about what NEMSA is doing, for Nigerians to really know that NEMSA is doing a lot of job, and they must cooperate with NEMSA for NEMSA to achieve results. Well, it was nice talking with you on Insight.
Thank you very much.
We hope and believe that the message you have passed is straightforward. You said the electricity is a good servant, but also a very bad master. That's the message.